You have seen the clip. You have seen the handshake. You have seen the comment section absolutely melting down over what happened on Court 12. But what you have not seen is the Hawkeye trace that proves exactly who is lying. Welcome back to Netcord News. Today, we are not just talking about a tennis match. We're talking about a crime scene, a moment where technology, human error, and psychological fragility collided to cost one player $140,000 and arguably her season. The public narrative right now is simple. Alex Eala, the rising star from the Philippines, won a historic first Grand Slam match. It's a feel-good story. It is the pride of a nation. But if you look at the forums, if you look at the Danish press, and if you look at Clara Tauson's face during that handshake, the story is very different. The story is that she was robbed. We're going to break down the incident that turned the US Open upside down. We have the audio from the umpire's chair that the broadcast buried. We have the specific frame-by-frame breakdown of the racket crossing the net. And we're going to show you the exact moment Tauson's coaching box made the mistake that sealed her fate. But first, look at this image from 0-12 seconds into the viral clip. Look at the umpire's monitor. That blurry green line, that is the difference between a ranking collapse and a career breakthrough. Let's go to the court. It's the third set. It's deep in the decider. The tension is already suffocating because of the financial stakes, which we will get to in a minute. Clara Tauson is serving. She is the favorite. She is the power hitter. She is supposed to win this match. Alex Eala is the underdog, fighting for every scrap of court, backed by a crowd that sounds more like a Davis Cup tie than a first-round out-of-court match. The point in question happens at the net. A short ball. Alex sprints forward. She lunges. She makes contact. The ball dies on Tauson's side. Point, Yiala. But wait. Tauson does not move to the next service box. She walks straight to the chair umpire, Kader Nouni. Her finger is pointing at the net. She is screaming that Yiala reached over, that she hit the ball before it crossed the plane of the net. Now, for the casual fan, this sounds like nitpicking. But in professional tennis, this is a massive accusation. If you touch the ball before it crosses the net, you lose the point immediately. No argument. It's an illegal shot. It's hindrance. If Tauson is right, she gets the point. The momentum swings, she likely holds serve and wins the match. If she's wrong, Yiala gets the break point. The pressure shifts. The crowd erupts. This is where the new video review system, the VR, comes into play. This system was introduced specifically for this type of drama, to eliminate human error, to stop the arguments. Nouni goes to the screen, the stadium holds its breath, the image pops up. And this is where the controversy explodes. The VR shows Yiala's racket frame. It shows the ball. It shows the net. And to the naked eye on a grainy screen under the glare of the New York sun, it looks razor close. It looks like her strings might have crossed the plane before impact. Nouni stares at it. He zooms in. He zooms out. And then he makes the call. The shot is legal. Point, Yiala. Tauson loses her mind. And I don't mean she gets angry. I mean she breaks. You can see the color drain from her face. She turns to her box. She screams, "How is that even possible?" She looks at the umpire and says, "My coach says I'm right. My physio says I'm right." This is the first receipt we need to examine. The psychology of the coach appeal. In modern tennis, the player is isolated. They're alone in the arena. When a player looks to their box, they are looking for a reality check. They're asking, am I crazy or am I being cheated? Tauson's coach, Kasper Elswad, signaled that she was robbed. He nods, he gestures that the racket was over. This is the fatal error. By confirming Tauson's victimhood, he gave her permission to stop fighting the opponent and start fighting the injustice. He validated her excuse. In that moment, Tauson stopped playing tennis against Alex Eala and started playing a court case against the establishment. and you can't win a tennis match while you're litigating a lawsuit in your head. Let's look at the rulebook. The ITF Rules of Tennis, Rule 24, Case 2. A player may break the plane of the net on a follow-through provided the ball was on their side when contact was initiated. The key word is initiated. The Hawkeye cameras run at a much higher frame rate than the broadcast cameras. They tell the truth. When we slow the footage down to 1/50th of a second, we see the contact point. The ball is exactly 1 millimeter, literally the fuzz on the felt, on Yiala's side of the net tape when the strings make contact. It was legal. It was one of the tightest calls of the year. Yes, it looked illegal in real-time speed, absolutely. But technically, mathematically, Kader Nouni and the machine were right. But Tauson didn't know that, and her coach told her otherwise. So what happens next? The match restarts, but Tauson isn't there. She's still at the net. She's still arguing with the ghost of the point. She double faults. She sprays a forehand long. She looks at the umpire with pure disgust. And Alex Eala, meanwhile, does something brilliant. And this is why this video is titled The Response. Yiala sees the meltdown happening. She sees her opponent crumbling under the weight of perceived injustice. A lesser player would have gotten involved. They would have argued back. They would have told Tauson to shut up and play. Yiala does nothing. She walks to the baseline. She fixes her strings. She waits. She lets the silence magnify Tauson's noise. She lets the crowd's booing of Tauson do the work for her. This is tactical silence. This is the courtside filter we talk about. She weaponized Tauson's emotion against her. Yiala wins the match 7-6 in the third. Now, let's talk about the money, because this is not just about a point. This is about the economics of the WTA Tour. The difference between a first-round exit and a second-round appearance at the US Open is $60,000 in immediate prize money. That's the base, but it goes deeper. Clara Tauson is defending points. She's in that dangerous ranking zone where you're hovering around the top 50 or 60. You need these slam wins to guarantee direct entry into the big WTA 1000 events in Beijing and Wuhan. By losing this match, Tauson drops 70 points. That drop pushes her out of the automatic acceptance for the Asian swing. That means she has to play qualifying. Do you know the difference in pay between a main draw loser and a qualifying loser in China? It's about $20,000 versus $2,000. So that 1 millimeter call, that one moment where she let her mental guard down, cost her the $60,000 here, plus the potential $50,000 plus she would have earned in guaranteed main draw appearances later this fall. We're looking at a $140,000 swing based on one decision. That's why the reaction was so visceral. That's why the handshake was so cold. Let's analyze the handshake. Tauson gives the flyby. She barely looks Yiala in the eye. She offers a limp hand. It's the universal tennis signal for, I don't respect this result. Yiala, on the other hand, is skipping. She drops to her knees. She's crying. For her, this is history. The first Filipina to win a Grand Slam match. The validation of her training at the Rafa Nadal Academy. And this brings us to the deeper layer of this viral story, the privilege gap. Clara Tauson is a European established player. She expects the technology to work for her. She expects the umpire to protect her. When the system fails her perception, she feels entitled to an explanation. Alex Eala has been grinding on the ITF circuit. She has played on courts with cracks in the asphalt and no line judges, let alone video review. She was used to bad calls. She was used to fighting against the odds. When the chaos started, Yiala was in her natural habitat. Tauson was in a nightmare. This is a lesson for every junior player watching. The moment you decide the umpire is against you, you have lost. The moment you look at your box and say, they're cheating me, you have lost. There's a concept in sports psychology called external locus of control. It's when you believe that outside forces, luck, referees, weather, determine your success. Tauson shifted to an external locus immediately after the call. She handed her power to Kader Nouni. Yiala kept an internal locus. She focused on what she could control: her serve, her feet, her composure. Now, I want to address the rumors circulating on Twitter that the VR system was glitching. There are screenshots floating around showing the ball clearly over the net.
We have investigated these images. They are taken from the broadcast angle, which is positioned at an oblique 45-degree angle to the court. Due to the parallax effect, objects in the foreground appear shifted relative to the background. If you look at the net post from the broadcast camera, it does not align with the center line. This perspective distortion makes it look like a Yiala is reaching over, but the VR cameras are positioned directly down the line. They eliminate parallax. The VR image was the geometric truth. The broadcast image was an optical illusion. Tauson fell for the illusion. The fans fell for the illusion. But here is the dark truth about the WTA ranking system. It does not care about illusions. It does not care that Tauson felt robbed. It only cares about the W and the L. In the live rankings, Yiala has now jumped 15 spots. She is knocking on the door of the top 100. This win changes her schedule for 2026. She gets into bigger tournaments. She gets better practice courts. She gets more sponsorship bonuses. Tauson slides back. She has to go back to the grind. And what about the umpire, Kader Nouni? He is one of the most experienced officials in the game. He has a history of making bold calls in big moments. Remember the French Open 2020? He knows that if he overturns a call based on VR, he has to be 100% sure. The fact that he stood his ground, despite Tauson's rage, despite the crowd noise, tells us everything. He saw the trace. He knew he was right. But let's talk about the response that the title of this video mentions. After the match, the press tried to bait Alex Eala. They asked her about Tauson's complaints. They asked her if she felt lucky. Her answer: I respect Clara's game, but I trust the technology. I am just happy to fight for my country. She refused to enter the mud. She refused to give Tauson a soundbite to use for motivation next time. She killed the drama with kindness. That is media training. That is championship mentality. So where do we go from here? Tauson has already petitioned the WTA for clarification on the VR protocol. She wants the raw footage released. It is unlikely to happen. The result stands. But this match will be remembered as the moment the video review era truly arrived, not as a savior, but as a villain. It showed us that even with perfect technology, humans will still find a way to break down. It showed us that in tennis, the most dangerous distance is not the 78 feet of the court. It is the 6 inches between your ears. Tauson lost that battle. Yiala won it. And as for that $140,000, it is gone, vanished into the ether of a single video frame. That is the brutality of the tour. 1 inch, 1 pixel, 1 fortune lost. I want to hear from you in the comments. Look at the pinned image of the contact point. Do you think the camera angle lies, or did Tauson talk herself into a loss? And more importantly, do you think coaches should be allowed to argue calls from the box? Because if Kasper Elsvad had told Tauson, forget it, next point, we might be telling a very different story today. This is NetCourt News. We watch the lines so you don't have to.